Well, hello there. Welcome to the live stream. I'm Father Roderick, and if you are watching this, then you may be watching this live, or you may be watching the recording of this later on. But you are just as welcome. You can leave your name in the comments, or just say hi, and so the rest of the community can also know that you are there. Now, you may be watching this in various different locations. So I'm streaming this to my three main YouTube channels, which is my Father Roderick YouTube channel, which is mostly about Star Wars and geeky things. And then I've got my books channel and I've got my anime channel. Anime channel is still very small, but I set that up as a kind of a backup for TikTok because of the ban, obviously, but also because sometimes I just want to do a little bit of more long form content about anime, and TikTok is just not the right platform for that. So we've got Margot who's there. DKT is here again. I tried to become a member, but I don't think your website accepts dollars as a form of payment, only euros. That's correct. We had to change that because our accounting system no longer works with multiple currencies. And it was an absolute headache. But if you pay through PayPal, that shouldn't be any problem because it does the conversion automatically. And there is kind of parity almost between euros and dollars. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. But I will look into it. We've got Michiel who's there as well, and Mr. Beckham as well from Texas. Good to see you. How is life in Texas? It's been a while since I've been there. Probably more than 12 years. Last time I was in Texas, I rode a horse. And it was also the last time I rode a horse. But yeah, so that's kind of the downside of being a Dutch content creator and having my nonprofit organization here in the Netherlands. Just the sheer amount of complexity of international payments is not fun. That's why we kind of moved to a more donation-based system. But yeah, let me just send me an email or something like that. I'm sure I can help you. We've got Marion who's also there. And the Spookje from Voorburg. The sounds like English and Spookje is very much Dutch. So that is the diminutive term for ghost. So ghost is spook, and little ghost is, or small ghost is Spookje. And Voorburg, that's kind of in the neck of my old neck in the woods. So I'm from that area, from the Rotterdam area. All right. But it's good to see everyone again. Yeah, it's been quite the week. Now, every week in this year seems to be quite the week. I feel like we all aged like a decade in just a month and a half. But yeah, this past week, for me personally, it was quite heavy, as Marty McFly would say. Heavy. What do you mean heavy? What is heavy? Just lots of work. I've been writing quite a bit, and then of course I've got all the work on the side, the bookkeeping, the podcast production, and then the parish also required a lot of extra work this week. So I'm pretty what is it? Maxed out right now. Half Dutch and English, that's true. Now I know who the Spookje is. Well, my greetings back to the great devil. It's always cool to know that I'm in very good relationship with the devil. Yeah, like Margot says, you can just pay via PayPal, but also if you pay via credit card, I think there shouldn't be a problem at all. The conversion should be automatic. Hey, Father Kirill, long time no see, at least long time no see live. Good to see you here on YouTube. And we've got first wave negativity. You didn't know I live streamed. Well, actually, that's quite recent. I started 2 weeks ago, I think, to do live streams every Wednesday at this time. So right now in the Netherlands, where I'm from, it's 7:05. So I do an hour every Wednesday. It's kind of a community moment. We can just chat about whatever you want to chat about. And then it allows me also to give an update on what I'm doing and give you a little bit of behind the scenes. Although there's not much behind the scenes because this is such a tiny office. I am still hoping to find some time and some money to refurbish this because this used to be my coat room, like where people would put their coats, and it was really, it's nothing special, but it's warm. It's the only room in the house that's easy to heat up. Pookiestan wants to know, do you still partake in VR gaming or gaming in general? Yes. Michiel knows all about it because we're often gaming together. But yeah, I'm still playing games, Valheim, and mostly Valheim now. I tend to hop from game to game, and then I have this brief obsession. Like I've played a lot of Euro Trucker over the winter holiday, which was very much fun. And now, and I did actually buy a Quest 3 also over the holidays, and I've been trying that out, and it's a ton of fun. It's just that I can't wear it very long because it's pretty heavy, so it kind of wears me down after a while. But it is super impressive. I love that technology. Father Roderick Armand wants to know, what are your thoughts on shoujo anime manga? Well, first of all, I'm such an ignorant that I would have to Google what that is. I also do Lego, yes. Like Michiel also knows all about it. Shoujo anime. It's a genre, I know. Isn't that like the more relationship type of stuff? What are shoujo animes? Romanized editorial category of Japanese comics targeting an audience of adolescent females and young adult women. Okay. Yeah, well, and I see here that Violet Evergarden is considered to be shoujo. So yes, then I watch it. I'm not that particular target audience, but I think that Violet Evergarden is great storytelling. And I'm doing a whole series on TikTok, and I think also on my anime channel on YouTube, although I've not really been cross-posting quite consistently yet. Yeah, but Violet Evergarden is amazing. The soundtrack, oh my goodness, I've got that on repeat. Yeah, so you're surprised how natural Dutch people sound when speaking English. Maybe, I don't know. Now, I have to say that I've been podcasting for more than 20 years. So I do believe that if you hear me speaking, because I live alone, so I don't talk much to the walls here unless I'm very, very depressed. But I think I probably speak, like, for 80% I speak English and then 20% Dutch if I encounter Dutch people here. So that helps to get fluent over time. So yeah, the Lego is wonderful. I just I couldn't resist. The Japanese castle was on sale over the weekend for 99 euros. Normally it's about 140 or something like that. And I saw it. A friend of mine, John, who's also a community member, he just built it recently, and I went over to visit him the other day. So I saw it for real, and Lego. You have to see it in 3D. It's a totally different thing than if you see it on a picture. It's like the Notre Dame. Like, Michiel was building that, and he was posting photos on Discord, and I was like, "Oh, that looks nice." But then I saw it in the Lego store in Dublin. I was like, "Oh, I need it! I need it!" All right. Do Force Ghosts have the ability to physically affect the living world? Well, if you look at Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost in The Last Jedi, you would think so. You can't really make physical contact, but he does have a certain impact on Kylo Ren. Maybe it's just in a spiritual way, but by just being there. But didn't we see also Yoda setting fire to the grotto with the sacred books? That seems like physical interaction to me. So yeah, I think there's probably some of that going on there. Although Star Wars has never been super consistent when it comes to metaphysics. Let's see, what else have we got in terms of questions? You mean it's not normal for the walls to speak back? Depends on what house you live in. If they do speak back, I would call your local exorcist. I'm good at mimicking accents. Oh, maybe. Yeah. My grandfather, no, my brother actually is very good at mimicking accents. I'm not sure about my father. My grandfather, I don't recall. Yeah, well, my grandfather, who was married to my Chinese grandmother, apparently he spoke Mandarin like a native. People could not tell that he was not, well, they could tell because he looked like a Dutch guy, but they couldn't tell from his accent, which is pretty cool. But for English, I'm usually sticking to this kind of, I don't know, it's a bit of a blend of various different accents. It's mostly what I pick up on TV or in the movies, and it shifts over time. If I listen to myself, let's say 10 years ago on a podcast, I sound very different. Or, I mean, I still sound like me, but there's certain words that I have started to pronounce differently. And my problem is always, I'm a bit like a sponge. So if I look at, for instance, Doctor Who, the next day, my American accent is down the drain. It becomes this weird, strange, not English at all, but it starts to degrade the way I speak. And Michiel knows this from when I spent time in Leicester. I had to read the gospel in church, and then afterwards he was like, "What the heck was that? That didn't sound like you at all." I was like, "Well, I was trying to do the English accent." He was like, "English? That sounded more like Irish or something like that." It was horrible. Don't do that ever again. So I'll just stick with American. Soyman says, I personally thought the last 3 episodes of Violet Evergarden were really disappointing. Oh, okay. I have not watched the entire series. I'm only at the halfway point. And then I kind of, I don't have that much time for TV. So currently I'm focusing on Sakamoto Days, and I'm catching up on Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan? Is that what it's called? Pretty good. And Frieren, I still need to finish Frieren. He still needs to install the lights. Well, you can take it easy. I bought lights for my Harry Potter castle like 6 years ago, and it's still not done. The Star Wars comics are better than the movies. I don't know. I've had various experiences with Star Wars comics. Some I liked, others not so much. Especially the New Republic. No, not the. What was it called? The High Republic. The High Republic comics. I didn't do anything for me. Let's see. American accent, British pronunciation, vocabulary, Dutch cadence. Yeah, probably. Yeah, the cadence definitely Dutch, I think. I'm very melodic, I think, but that's just the way I talk. I'm usually very, ups and downs. It's only in the morning when before I've had coffee, I'll talk like this, and I'm really not in the mood. The more adrenaline, the higher. If I do an interview, like now I'm finally editing the stuff that I filmed at these fantasy fairs, and I hear myself conducting an interview, and I was like, "So tell me about your costume. It's really cool." Like, dude, take some tranquilizers. People say Dutch sounds like silly English.Maybe yes. Hey, Mary Antonia. Good to see you. Hello from Hudson Valley, New York. Really cold. Yeah, it's always surprises me, the extremes around New York. Oh, you thought I was in the New York City Archdiocese. No, I'm not. I think it's probably also because New York itself is quite a mix of different accents, and I've noticed that people in the US tend to be much more forgiving to me not knowing how to say things or having mispronouncing words than in England. In England, they're more like, that's not how you pronounce it. They won't say it, but they'll give you that look, like you're probably from Europe. Have you ever lived anywhere else? Yes, I have. I have lived in Belgium for 5 years, from when I was 18 years old until the age of 23, 24. Is that correct? Yeah, 5 years. So I'm pretty fluent in French. I was in the French part of Belgium because they have 3 languages in that country. And I'm still so grateful that I was able to kind of still master French as if it's my native language. So yeah, in French, usually when I'm in France and people meet me, they don't register that I'm not from France, which is kind of cool because French is the most beautiful language in the world. Sorry, but it's true. And then I lived also in Italy, in Rome, for 2 years, a little more than 2 years. That's where I studied social communications and video production and all that. But I was a lot older then, so I do speak Italian, but I never picked it up the way I picked up French. And of course, I only stayed there for 2 years, which is not enough. You have to stay at least 5 years somewhere to really master the nuances, I think, of a language. Let's see. Hey, Father, are we able to listen in today since Virginia is having nasty weather and school is closed? Oh, that's good, Jeannie. Good to see you. Have you done any running lately? Or is it too cold for that as well? Well, thankfully you have your photo, Jeannie, so I can recognize you. Plus, I know some of the screen names. I've been cleaning up the Discord server. This is something that I've been working on for a while now, and I need to talk to Michiel about some of the ideas that I have, but I cannot do that by myself, so I might need some help. But I'm currently thinking of using the Discord server in a different way so I have my own community server, which is for my patrons, or let's say my supporters. So that gives me a number of abilities, for instance, to do like video chat with the members and courses and stuff. And it's a really nice, neatly integrated system. But it's also I've noticed that for like geeky discussions, it's too slow. And you have to install an app, or you have to go to a browser to use it, which the app is kind of clunky and slow. And so whereas Discord, when we had Discord, and Discord, we've only had Discord as a closed server. It was linked to the patrons. But there was quite a bit of, at least initially, there was quite a bit of life, actually. And people were just chatting about a lot of things. And it was a lot of fun. And that kind of died down on the news, in the other community. So I'm thinking of diversifying this and to use the community really for community activities, for stuff that is really exclusive to my supporters and probably also most relevant to my supporters, and then use the Discord server kind of like a general forum to just chat about the stuff that, like I'm chatting right now, chat about Star Wars and anime and all that stuff. I am going to limit it to the stuff that I talk about in my programs, though. So we used to talk about anything. We had an entire like food section and pets and cats and whatnot and memes, and I think that makes it very unwieldy and also kind of like, what is this server? So I'm gonna focus it more on the topics, the geeky topics that I make programs about, because then it's easier for someone who is only like following me from a distance, at least. So for instance, someone's following me on TikTok, they don't know that I create podcasts, right? And so to have one place where people can see, oh, wait a minute, there's a bigger community, more topics, I think that can have a lot of potential for crossover. Much more, of course, than a closed forum like on the community server where you actually have to donate in order to even get access, let alone, talk. So anyway, but that's mostly what I've been doing today. I've been getting reacquainted with the technicalities of running a Discord server, and I kind of I think I have finally a bit of a grip on the system. So I do have some ideas on what we could do. And then I'm also excited to maybe just in batches open it up and just invite people. For instance, I could do like a live stream on TikTok, and then you get the people who really want to follow me, and then just say, hey, for the first 30 people, here's an invite link. And so gradually grow that community. You don't want to open it up to 10,000 people because then it's like, yeah, you don't want to do that. But in small batches, yeah, I don't know. Let's see, what else have we got in the chat? We've got LDS. Oh, that's been a while, from Tuscany. Buonasera, spero che tutto va bene. Nella bella Toscana. Is Catholicism normal in the Netherlands? Yeah, it's just as normal as Protestants and Muslims and atheists. Yeah, no, but it is still, right, in numbers, it's the biggest religion, but not geographically, because of course the North has been under Protestant rule for a long time. So, but you've got Catholics everywhere, but it's all dwindling down very rapidly, both Protestants and Catholics. No Nonsense Jones says, I also used to think that French was a pretty language until I heard French people speak. Really? Oh, ben, faut pas exagérer, c'est quand même très très beau. There are so many regional variations of American English and so many immigrants from all over the world that at least in the coastal cities we're used to a lot of variations. That's true. No Nonsense Jones. Unpopular opinion, but German is a beautiful language. No, it is. It can be. Let's say it's like any language. It can be beautiful. I used to think that Italian was a beautiful language because opera and poetry. And then I went to Rome and it's like, che vai? Questa giorno c'è sempre questa pioggia, non mi piace. What is this? That's not supposed to be Italian. Italian is supposed to be like beautiful and romantic, but it is not. The piano goddess photo. Oh, it's a professional headshot. Yeah, but that's, thank God for makeup, ladies. I have to go on TV several times a month, and especially now that I'm getting older, my skin is also getting a bit more blotchier and like. So they usually cover that up real nicely, and so when I see myself on TV, it's like, who is this guy? I don't know this person. And then, of course, light also does a lot. Like here, I've got pretty crappy lighting because of these cheap LED lights. So that's one of the plans that I have with this space, is to put some colors in here, of course, some furniture, because this used to be in my bathroom, and I miss it because this is where I would store all my stuff. I don't have any closets in the house except for one. So I've temporarily put this here to have a little bit of something in the background, because I was planning on doing a lot of the live streams, and I'm doing all the book videos here. But yeah, what I want to do is to put like nice bookshelves here, Billy's, on the side, and fill it with real books, which is kind of an issue because I did away with all my books when I moved here. I only have ebooks, but I think I'm going to buy a number of them like secondhand or something. I'm sure there are lots of books that deserve a second life. But anyway, I do have Billy's upstairs, but they're black. And there was a phase in my life where I thought that looked cool, and now I'm thinking, no, that looks so somber, especially on camera. What I like this, despite this being so simple, I like the fact that I can do colors with little LEDs. So I'd like to keep that and put, maybe not white, because white is like very white, but maybe something more beige or brown or something like that. IKEA doesn't have that many options in terms of colors. Most of them I don't like. But anyway, but before I can do that, I have to paint the wall because I'll show you. It looks pretty horrible. So I removed the coat hanger, and that's what it did. I thought that the wall was just nicely painted, but it's not. And then here you can see the thing, and then over there, that's the only electricity that I have over there. And in the morning, it switches on automatically, and 9 times out of 10, the fuse just short circuits. So that tells me that this is not a safe situation. And then here, this closet here, this is where you actually have, whoops. Okay, what is happening? This thing is, okay, hold on. Whoop, like that. So, oh, I can't, it's time. But anyway, you can see, that's where the electricity goes. Wow, that was weird. I don't know what that camera was doing, but... So it's super tiny, but I kind of like, what I like about this room is it helps me focus. So the monitor, I'll show you, this is behind the scenes, right? So this is what I'm looking at. You guys are here in this window, so I can read that. I love this monitor. It's an ultra wide screen. This is my timer. So I work always in 25-minute units. So this is a Pomodoro timer. So every hour, on the hour, I press and then it counts down. And when that red slice is gone, then I know I have to stand up and take a break. It works wonders. It's really helpful. So there outside, I probably can't see it, but that's a church tower. And there's a parking lot there. It's dark now, so you don't see that much. So the monitor is actually on the windowsill because I don't have a stand. This one cannot move up and down, but this is the perfect height actually. And then I've got these lights. I mean, it's really rudimentary, but it does the job for now. But I do have some higher aspect. When I see all these YouTubers with their nice lighting, thinking, oh man, come on. Especially now that I'm trying to grow my book channel, I'm thinking I need the classic book channel backdrop. Otherwise, it's just not. Now it seems like I only read these 5 books, you know. It's just not serious. All righty. Hey, Ruben, good to see you. I'm a little bit behind on reacting to the comments. Mr. Arson wants to know, what is your opinion on veganism? Well, you're talking to a former vegan. I've actually lived a vegan lifestyle for about 2.5 years. Unfortunately, because of my constitution, I have a hard time absorbing certain vitamins from vegan sources. And so I had to switch back to eating moderate amounts of meat because I was actually getting serious health issues. But I ran 2 marathons just on vegan lifestyle. So yeah, if I could, I would. But unfortunately, for medical reasons, my doctor advises against it. So there you go. In the UK, the accents change. Yeah, it's like Dutch also. There are regions here in the south of the country where every village has its own dialect. I'm so glad I'm from Rotterdam, or the area of Rotterdam, because that's kind of a very dominant accent that you always hear on TV, because a lot of the TV is being created in the west of the country. So that makes my accent, even though it's just a small portion and it's very recognizable if you're from that area, but it still sounds kind of middle of the road. But it's not, because the majority of the country actually has a very different accent from my accent. Let's see. French is a much nicer language than German. It really depends. It really depends. Like Canadian French, to my ear, sounds like, oh my goodness, I don't like that. But it's also, it's weird how that works, because to someone who is native French, Canadian French sounds actually very charming. To my ears, it's so grating when I hear like an interview with Celine Dion. It's like, oh, please stop. Uh, do you follow any sports? No, no. I'm really not into sports. I've never been. Uh, I've had usually I've had a short time in my life when I was a student. I would watch tennis. I didn't play it, but kind of liked it. It was, but yeah, never got into soccer, football, basketball. Still, I don't understand basketball at all. Don't see the appeal. But it's also because when we used to play that in school, I didn't understand it either, even though they taught us the rules. But it's not for me. So no, I do like to run. So I'm a runner. I've done judo. Is that the English term as well? So martial arts sports when I was a kid. And I thought that was very cool. I still regret that I stopped doing that. And then I've done like general gymnastics. I'm not sure what the term is, where you do the flip flops and the rings and all that stuff. So I've done that for a couple of years as well, but it was mostly because my mom didn't want me to play soccer for some reason. Her reasoning was that the shoes were too expensive, but then my brother got to play soccer. So, yeah. Anyway, and it's also just a matter of time. I prefer spending my time on other stuff, like watching. I can see how it gives people joy, and I have to say, when I was in the US and someone explained to me the rules of football, it's so much more entertaining to watch than soccer. Soccer you can watch for 90 minutes or more, and there's zero goals, and it's like, why the heck did I watch this? But loads of people love it. To each his own. Have you been keeping up with the Ahsoka TV show? Yes, I have. I loved it. Well, no, that's not true. I liked it. I didn't love it. And that was mostly because the character of Ahsoka was written so differently from the Ahsoka that I liked from the Clone Wars. So this whole like distant kind of Jedi, but the stuff that I don't like about the Jedi. Why are Jedi such like, I don't know, fridges? They're fridges, really. Not sympathetic, not kind, not warm. Yeah, I didn't care for that character, and that's a shame. And it's I think it's done deliberately, and she kind of warms up a little bit, but I still thought it was a really weird interpretation of that character. But all in all, the story was intriguing. I was a bit underwhelmed by what's his name, the blue dude. The what was his name? I failed the Star Wars test here. Come on, no, not Tarkin. What's the dude? The blue skin dude. Help me out here, dudes. Anyway, so I thought it was a really cool character from the what is it, the Heir to the Empire books, but I don't know. It's just the actor didn't really work for me. Didn't feel like the person that I knew from the books. But again, personal. I liked the Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew, peak Star Wars. That's absolutely a season that I'm going to rewatch. I enjoyed every minute of that. What else have we got? I do miss the community we had on Discord. Yeah, but that's why I'm thinking of reopening it. I think it's going to be a good complement to the stuff that we can do on the community server. But it does require moderation, and we need to really think that through, especially if it's going to be like open invitations. But I'm not in a hurry. Did you see that the new Captain America movie is now one of the worst reviewed Marvel movies? Is it out yet? Has it been reviewed? I never cared for the new Captain America. Not because of the actor, but just because for me it's got to be Steve, and if it's not Steve, then yeah, move on. Let's do another character. But and I thought the what was the TV series where he was replacing Steve? That didn't work for me either. I didn't care for it. Anyway, how do you get to your Discord? I will send out an invite. In fact, I can do that now. I first have to ask Michiel and Margot, because they're still both moderators. Do you think it's a good idea that I post a link here in the chat? It's a temporary link, will expire, so that people that are currently watching the chat, that they can sign up. We can do a little test. I mean, there are not that many of you out there. And you just click it. You have to install the Discord client, but then you'll get a role, which is follower. And that will give you, there's not much happening right now because we haven't used the Discord server for a while, but I have already like added the various topics of my shows. So what do you think, Margot and Michiel? Let's see. LED lighting erasing your inner zoomer. Yes, indeed. Is it true that in the Netherlands you will see apartments for rent with no floor? I had some friends move there for university, and they said that was a thing. What do you mean, no floor? Like just concrete? Maybe. I mean, students, they usually pay through the nose for something horrible, so maybe just very bad luck. And let's face it, some of these student houses, you'd rather have no floor than the existing floor, which is going to be like a nuclear zone. I got this timer on. Oh my gosh, I'm really behind on reacting. I've got this timer. This is a Unboyd timer. I got it on Amazon. You have the mechanical ones, but this one is nice. It loads through USB-C. I've read some reviews that said it broke. You need to have a pretty good charger to charge it. That's what I noticed. But I'm very used to it. I use it all the time. Even when I do a homily, I use it if I have to do a talk. Like Monday, I did a talk on the Celtic Saints, and I just put it on 45 minutes, press, and then it beeps, and then I know I have to stop. It's perfect for someone with like I'm a time lord with my ADHD brain. I don't acknowledge time. When I'm talking to you, I don't know how long we've been talking. It's probably more than 10 minutes, that I can tell. But have we been talking for half an hour? Is it 40 minutes? Is it 50 minutes? I have no clue. So timers are lifesavers. Your backdrop looks good for someone who's only started streaming recently. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I do the little blurry thing with the iPhone. So this is an iPhone. So it looks nicer than it actually is. But yeah, it works. Baldur's Gate 3 I've played an hour and I loved it. But you'd have to ask people like me who have played much more than I do. Kirill wants to know, why don't I see everyone's chats? It's because you're probably watching this on the main YouTube channel, but this live stream is being aired to my 3 main YouTube channels. So you've got the Books channel, Father Roderick-Books, you've got Father Roderick, and then you've got Father Roderick-Anime. So that's why there are all these different topics, because people are watching with different backgrounds. But that's why I do this. It's like once a week, I want to bring everyone together. Oh, judo. Oh, you did judo as well. I didn't know that. Animal Crossing. Oh, wow. I have not played that for years. I loved it, but it's a time suck. Gymnastics. Okay. Thrawn. Oh, yes. Grand Admiral Thrawn. I'm so bad with names, but thank you. Looking at the chat would help. Yeah, I'm so behind. Hey, the Nether Side. Good to see you. Oh, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah. I really did not like that series. How did you amass so many fans? Well, I've been doing this for a while. I've been a podcaster since 2005. Can you believe that? So I've been in front of a microphone for more than for 20 years. I've been on YouTube for as long as YouTube exists. When YouTube started, I got an account. My first account is no longer there, unfortunately, because I had a ton of followers there. And I basically broke through with Star Wars. I did these reaction videos, and people had never seen a priest freaking out about anything, let alone Star Wars. So that got me a lot of followers. And then anime, that was like the next big wave. So when I started my anime channel on TikTok, that really hit a content gap, I think. And so I've got, I don't know, 250,000 followers right now. It's kind of insane. So there you go. It's just keep doing this. And now for the books channel, I'm building that up because I want people to read my book when it's ready. But that's like if you want to see how I build up audiences like that, you just go follow the books channel, because I'm applying everything I've learned over these 20 years to grow that steadily and surely. And I know that a year from now, that will be a huge channel because I'm committed to it. And it all requires dedication. And one of my biggest handicaps is consistency. And that's because I have ADHD. And so I can get very excited, and for a relatively short time, I can put all my energy and all my concentration on one thing. And then I get bored and I move over and I completely forget about the project. So that has happened multiple times. So that's where you will see me, like for 5 weeks, I will make almost daily videos on TikTok, and then I'm just gone. And for a year. So anyway, I was always beating myself up for it, and now I just accept it. That's just how I work. I'm trying to. I have some tricks now that seem to work quite well, and they all have to do with content creation as a habit. So I think I've been creating consistently weekly podcasts for 3 years now. And recently, since January the 1st, I'm doing daily podcasts. So I do a show called Story Secrets, which for most of you in the chat is probably something you would like to check out, because that's about Star Wars, it's about anime, it's about writing, it's about, movies, TV shows, Marvel, superheroes, Star Trek, you name it, all the geeky stuff. And that's a daily show. So on all weekdays, there's a new episode. And I record that as a habit during my lunch break. So now I still need to figure out how to do that for video. But this is a beginning. This is a start, doing these live streams every Wednesday. It's a way for me to create a habit where I show up every week. It's nothing special. I mean, this is not TV, and you're looking at my face, which probably better things to look at, but it's the interaction that keeps me in the loop, and it helps me to kind of make that a part of my life. And so hopefully over time I will also figure out how to do more regular videos, because I know I can do it, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I'm always trying to over deliver, and that is usually completely crippling me. So I don't film updates because I feel it's not good enough. It should have a nicer backdrop. I first need to go to IKEA, and then I need to paint the walls, and then of course that never happens because that's my brain that visualizes everything without calculating the costs. And so I'm trying to get into the habit of just delivering good content, and then just forget about the backdrop. If the content is good enough, then that's good enough. But it's hard. Let's see. Let's see. Hello, Father, I give you my blessing. Thank you. Do you think Judas talked to Beta before he betrayed Jesus? Who is Beta? I think I'm missing something here, but With the Grain asks, what books would you recommend for people who would like to start reading but never really did it growing up? Ooh, that's a good question. Start with something easy, something fun. I read a lot of James Bond because those are really simple books to read. The Reacher stories are pretty fun too if you like that kind of stuff. It depends, of course, on your tastes. So yeah, I would definitely. It depends. I mean, let me know what kind of genre are you in, then I can make some more specific recommendations. But I would always start small. So last year I read 150 books. A year before that I read 100 books. A year before that I read 50 books, I think. And I just started with like, what do I want to read instead of like, what is everybody reading? I was like, okay. And then I would just go for the small books as well. Like, okay, I can read this in half a day. I'll read this. I think most of my reading came back when Harry Potter came out. That's when I started reading again. And then I took a bit of a hiatus, and it's just about 3 years ago I started reading again for reals. And I have to be careful that with all the media stuff that I do and the book writing, that I don't forget to reserve time to read, because it's super enriching. And I read a mix of nonfiction and fiction. Hey, Arika, good to see you. The ADHD boredom is a thing, is absolutely a thing, but habits help a lot. And also just accepting that sometimes the brain just doesn't want to do it. Like, I really desperately wanted to write 3,000 words every day. This is day 3 that I have not really been writing anything. I've been thinking about the book, but I'm not writing consistently because I feel like the plot is not clear enough. Characters need to still be, modified, and also just fatigue. Absolute. I was wiped out the day before yesterday. So yesterday I took a break, and today I just I did some work mostly on the Discord server. But again, I wasn't like in the past, and when I say the past, it's like a couple of months ago, I would have completely gaslit myself. Like, you're lazy, you said you were going to do it, and I would force myself. But I've learned to not do that, because it only makes the situation worse. If I get signs that I am overstimulated, overwhelmed, I know what that looks like now. Like, I get a red face. So right now, currently this is stage orange, which means that I'm actually quite relaxed right now. Because a few weeks ago, I would be sitting here, and my head would be as red as the red part on my Pokemon catcher. Clear sign that I'm overwhelmed. If I can't focus on anything, sign of overwhelm. When I bump into things, sign of overwhelm. When I can't sleep because my ideas keep just bouncing around, it's overwhelm. And I know that there's only one way to deal with overwhelm, and that is to step on the brakes and to let go of my ambitions, and to just tell my ADHD brain that tomorrow is also good. And I think, but this is a theory because I'm kind of new to this whole ADHD stuff, is that if I pace myself better, it will be easier to stay consistent, because my lack of consistency usually is a result of, at one point, just getting a burnout, or at least a creative burnout. And then I completely fall off the wagon and I don't do anything for months. So maybe just taking it easier on myself will actually allow me to be more consistent, because then it's kind of this more steady flow of dopamine, instead of searching for these super high hits of dopamine, and then if it doesn't work anymore and I'm overwhelmed, everything drops. Hey, Patrick. Patrick writes, oops, where are you? Oh, there you are. I just came across your content a week ago. Oh, wow, welcome. I like the combination of all things like theology, science fiction, books. Is there an overview of everything you do in these areas, and how do I support it? Yes, there is. You can just go to my website, fatherroderick.com, And if you go there, let me go look that up for you. Roderick.com. Chrome always remembers the URLs that I once typed in, and it's always the wrong URL. So if you go to fatherroderick.com, you will see my face. So you know it's me, and then it's a little bit of blurb, and I created this because I was starting to build up my coaching business. So I'm helping parishes and individuals with like branding and how to use media to get your mission in front of people. But if you go in the menu to my work, you will have links to everything I do. So it's podcasts, video. So you've got the YouTube channels, the TikTok channels, books that I've written, and the book that I'm currently writing. The courses, I've got 2 courses now. They're still in beta, so still working on that. And then there's a newsletter. And the link before that is join my community. So if you do that, you can support me. So you can just do like a micro payment or something like that. And then as a thank you, you get like a premium podcast that I record specifically for my supporters, in which I just share my life and how I do this stuff. And so that's a very informal way of staying in touch with people that believe in my mission. So that's a simple way. And at the end of this chat, we will post a link to the Discord server. So you can sign up and join my Discord, and you will be among the first, hopefully, of a new generation of valued Discord members. Only for those of you that are watching this live. Let's see. Do you have anyone from the parish or even the YouTube locals to help you with the upgrades on your rectory? I think if I would ask, people would help. But I'm always like, I don't want to bother people. But yeah, I think that's one of the things I want to do is after Mass, for instance, I could just ask for, hey, does anyone have time to do some painting with me? And the thing is, if people actually volunteer, then I have to organize it. And I'm very bad at that. I don't have a car, so I can't go to get the paint and the wallpaper. So the organization, it's not that people don't want to help, but it's that I lack the bandwidth right now to manage it. It's my life. But I'm patient. Let's see. So, and if you sign up for the Discord, what I'm planning to do is whenever I have a new podcast, I have a section where I just post a link, so that even if you're not subscribed to everything I do, and most people aren't, you still have one place where you can go and see, I'm going to check out that episode, or I haven't seen that video. So hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, very wise, Erica, to just take a day in between as a break. Sometimes, me deliberately not writing for 2 or 3 days has really been beneficial. And it has also, strangely enough, helped me to solve puzzles that I couldn't figure out if I were sitting in front of the computer. So it's also like sometimes you have to just, it's like running. If you run always with this intent of I need to hit my target, your body is in a state of like cramp almost. And that's when you get injuries. And I've noticed that for me, the best way to run at my best level is to not actually trying to meet a certain target timer and just run and feel how it feels. And if I feel like running faster, I'll just run faster. And that's usually, my fastest marathon was it in Rotterdam? No, it was in Enschede. I ran that marathon without looking at my watch. It was just it was an experiment. I'm just gonna see what feels good. And it was my fastest time. And before, all the years before, I would have this very strict schedule. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm behind, and stress. And it didn't help. So I think with writing, it's probably the same thing. It's a bit what Luke Skywalker hears when Ben Kenobi is talking to him in his X-Wing fighter. Is like, at first he's looking at his targeting monitor, and then Obi-Wan says, just let go, trust your feelings, Luke. And I think that's true for a lot of things. Maybe that's why I like that sequence so much. Let's see. You're right. I'm not bothering people. I mean, I'm over that kind of false shame of like, I don't want to bother people. But it's kind of what I've been saying. But I think it was kind of a polite way to say what was truly going on is like, I cannot manage it. It's just too overwhelming for me. And not to mention that if I have people in my house, even if they want to help me, I'm not going to get anything done that day. And the day afterwards, I'm going to be completely wiped out. That's also that's a high price to pay, but that's unfortunately how it works. So I don't mind. I'm quite social, but it has to be in small dosages, and I need recovery time afterwards. That's usually what people don't see. So that's always my problem with the parish. So this past Sunday, I had to replace the pastor who is now in his native country in Colombia because his brother died in a traffic accident, very tragic. And they had this big mass that was massively advertised. They were expecting more than 350 people in church. And they wanted me to do it. And they told me, yeah, but Father Roderick, you talk like that. You're also easygoing. It's exactly what we need. And I was like, yeah, but you don't know how much that costs me. That's what you don't see. You see the final result. And I don't tell people that, but before a mass, I always have it with Easter as well, Christmas as well, I don't sleep. I barely slept 3 hours. It's just my brain is in overdrive, preparing every eventuality. And it's not that I cannot wing it. It's just my brain refuses to accept that it's simple and tries to provide for any possible scenario. So that is extremely fatiguing. And then you've got the mass itself, where it's like more than an hour and a half, because it was a long mass, of masking. So I'm projecting a Father Roderick that is, it's part of me. It's not that I'm like faking it, but it is one side of me. And I cannot show the Father Roderick who only has slept 3 hours and would rather do anything but being there. But I can't. I have to be there. So I put up a mask, which is draining my battery. It's like putting on GPS on your phone. It's like I'm in the red after that. So I went home immediately afterwards, and people were like, "Where's Father Roderick? And he's always shaking hands and drinking coffee with us, and now he's gone. What happened?" And it's like, yeah, total overwhelm. I cannot pay that price anymore. Anyway, Patrick says, I am very excited about the book you're writing. As a Christian, I sometimes feel friction between my beliefs and what is written in the fantasy books. How do you want to approach that in your book? Good question. Well, I'm not too worried because I have a reputation for being very weird and hang out with all the wrong people for certain Christians. So I hang out on fantasy fairs and I love it. And I've always been a fan of geeky stuff. But in my book is actually very theologically sound. It is magic, it is fantasy, but it's based on a very solid theology because I'm a theologian. And I wanted for me, the challenge was to come up with a fantasy story that was kind of semi-compatible. Of course, magic does not exist in the real world, but my magic system is built on the premise that whatever we read in these ancient legends about saints is real. That it's not just a story. There were actually sea monsters. Like Saint Patrick has fought a sea snake. Nobody talks about that because everybody says, oh, it's legend. And I was like, well, what if it's not? And that's how I came up with this idea of a story that takes place in early medieval times, where the world was full of magic and wonders and stuff. They didn't call it magic, but it was. and there were dragons. I mean, it's Game of Thrones. So my novel is very much, it's about two people, two young people that have entered a monastery. One is a nun or a novice, and the other one is a future monk. And they are experiencing this magic, and then everything goes haywire because there is an evil entity, a sectarian movement, and they try to destroy the what I call story magic. So the ability of stories to give people hope and to change the world, that's what they want to attack. And I'm currently developing a whole backstory. It's so much. I've never had so much fun in my life before. And I say this a lot. I should have started writing fiction 40 years ago. I always loved to do that. As a child, that was what I did the most. I would write stories. I would make comic books. And then I stopped because it wasn't useful. And later when I was in seminary, it was weird, undesirable. So I wrote a thesis in philosophy. I wrote a thesis in theology. I wanted even to write a doctorate. Thank God I never did that. And then I wrote some articles. And then I wrote an autobiography called Geek Priest, or Media Priest in Dutch. But that was all about my work. It was an apology of why I am doing this kind of online work, which is out of the ordinary. But every chapter was basically me trying to convince other people that this was important. And now I feel like I'm past that. I don't care what people think of what I do. I know that in my heart, I've always been a storyteller, and that stories are conveyors of values. And so that's what I try to do with this story. I try to convey the values that are important to me, but I'm not trying to evangelize with this book. What I do hope is that people get a much better feel of what those early medieval times were like. And so in my mind, I'm always like wandering around in 6th century Ireland. That by itself, for me, gives me all the joy of writing this, because it's like I discover history from within, because I'm not just reading facts, but I'm living. As long as I'm writing my book, I'm living in 6th century Ireland. It's amazing. It's addictive. It is so much fun. And I do believe, and that sounds weird, because I never wanted to say stuff like that, but I really feel that this is going to be a really cool book. This is a book that I myself would like to read. That's what I'm trying to write. And I don't care if it's like the perfect like high fantasy or what genre it is. I'm trying to find an audience for it, because I don't think, I mean, it's not epic fantasy. It's not historical fiction. It is not romantasy. It's none of those genres, but it's something in between. It's a mix, but it reflects who I am. And maybe that makes it unique. But the goal is for me is to write a story that is unlike other fantasy stories. Anyway, let's see. You seem so sociable. I would never have suspected that you have any challenges with engaging with large numbers of people. Well, from the outside, you don't notice. I'm very good. I can talk to any crowd. Seriously, you put me in front of a stadium, not a problem. But it takes a lot of energy to do it well. Just like even this live stream, what you see now is an amped up. Michiel, people that know me in real life, they know this. What you now see is an amped up version of Father Roderick. When the live stream is over, I can fully unmask. I'm pretty much myself right now, but I am definitely a more adrenalized version of myself. And it's not something I do on purpose. It's just the way, it's kind of the interaction, I think. But it does cost me energy. This is one of the reasons that I do this actually I need to start wrapping up, between 7 and 8, so that I still have 2 hours before I go to bed to wind down. If I used to do this from 8 to 9, and then I couldn't sleep anymore because I was so like, Energizer Bunny. Are you going to the last Elfjaar Zuilens? Yes, I hope so. I didn't get a ticket. I'm sorry. I hope they will still give me another like journalism ticket. But they have been pretty cool. So I'm going to do more interviews. It's just that I always feel a bit weird because I've been posting these interviews, but not on Instagram, which is where most of their audience is. But I do horizontal videos, which looks absolutely horrible if you post it on Instagram. So I'm always, and this is just my inner fear, is that they're going to say, well, yeah, but we gave you a free ticket for, and we never saw your interviews. It's imposter syndrome, I know, but it's real. No, I absolutely hope to go there. I love Elfia with all my heart. That's my happy place. Castlefest, Elfia. There's no place in the world where I'd rather be. Sounds weird from a priest, but it's true. Anyway. Can you recommend any clean epic fantasy novels? Besides Lewis, Tolkien, or Sanderson? That's a good question. It's also a very hard question because I haven't read that much fantasy. But if you follow me on Goodreads, you can go through my list, and it's not to say that every book that's in there is clean. I don't even know exactly what that means, because probably means different things to different people. But I'm usually pretty honest about what I recommend and what I don't. So for instance, right now I'm reading The Fourth Wing, and I know that towards the end, from what I understand, it's going to be very smutty and very, very graphic. A friend of mine even called it pornographic. So like, okay, I'm bracing myself. I expected that to be throughout the book, which hasn't happened yet, but I'm now past the halfway point. But I'm bracing myself, and I already kind of feel where it's going. You can feel the intent of the author. But that, to me, that doesn't really mean that, it doesn't mean that there is nothing to gain from this book. What's that? Oh, it's my phone? Someone's calling me on my phone. Okay, goodbye. I'm working. I never answer my phone, by the way. I just don't. I'm very modern in that respect. Phones are not supposed to be used to talk to people unless it's in a live stream. Okay, so yeah, just check out my Goodreads. It's Father Roderick, and maybe you'll get some ideas there. I really like the Japanese books that I've been reading recently. They're not really epic fantasy. They're pretty cool. One ring to rule them all. Hey, Paul, good to see you. Okay, I'm going to give you the link to my Discord server. So you can, we'll do a test. And I hope you will, if you follow the link and you have Discord installed, of course, then you will be welcomed. I'm going to generate a link here. How does that work again? So I think I need to, oh yeah, I remember. I just installed something so you get automatically a role, which is not always the case. So I'm just going to copy this. That is the link. It's only valid for 7 days. I'm going to post this here. Then I'm going to do, bear with me, I'm like just installed something that is super handy. Oh wait, which one was it? BGF. There you go. And then I press enter, and then it does that, and then I click agree. Oh shoot. Ah! Too fast. Not good. Not good. Okay, let's do it again. Delete. This is not exactly necessary, but oh, it's the same link. Okay, good. But if I'm going to open this up to more people, I really want this to work. So you're my guinea pigs right now. Then we'll do create invite. We'll choose this one. I press enter. And then I'm going to give you the role of follower. There you go. And then I press Okay. And now if I give you this link, you will automatically get the role of follower, which means you can see and participate in the various sections. This allows me to give out another link, for instance, to my supporters. So I can give them like access to different sections or like extra things like voice chat and that sort of stuff. So that's basically the fruit of today's work, is me figuring this out. So I'm going to post this in the chat. I don't know, can you all read that if I post it in the chat? Or do I put it on the screen? Okay, where is my... Here it is. Only texting and social media. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Only texting and social media. Okay, let me post this here in the chat. Yes, I think this is posting. So if you click on this, you will be enlisted on my Discord server. And then introduce yourself. There's an introduction section, so you can tell me where you're from and what your real name is, if you want to share that. And then we'll start. There's not much life there because we haven't used it for months, but feel free to start a conversation, but stay on topic. Don't make us moderate too much in the beginning, but hopefully you'll enjoy it there. What else were we talking about? Oh yeah, so the clean epic fantasy novels. Let me take a look at my own Goodreads. Give you a recommend. I'm reading some Dutch books, but that's of course not very useful. But those are pretty clean fantasy. Most Dutch fantasy is actually quite clean, which is surprising if you see our reputation worldwide. Let's see, what have I... Of course, I haven't read that much epic fantasy lately because those books take forever to read. And I did read quite a bit of Sanderson, so that also... Oh, I love this book. Days at the Morisaki bookshop. That was really a charming book. I also loved If Cats Would Disappear from the World, or what was the name again? The Cat Who Saved Books. The Cat Who Saved Books. I love that one too. That's kind of really easy to read fantasy. What else have we got? So this year is actually going to be the year that I'm planning on reading more fantasy, because I'm going to do book reviews. And I know that to grow my BookTube channel, I need to do reviews of the genre that I'm writing in. So I can build up an audience that will actually be interested in what I write. If I tell my parishioners about a fantasy novel, no one's going to read it because they don't know me. They don't know that side of me. They don't care for that side of me. Boy, I've not been reading much fantasy last year. Wonka. That was cool, actually. The Red Rising saga, but that doesn't count because it's not high fantasy. Of course, I read the whole Chronicles of Narnia again. Wow. I have nothing to recommend. Isn't that weird? I think the last fantasy that I read was the Mistborn trilogy, which I kind of thought was okay. It wasn't as mind-blowing as I hoped it would be. Wow. Okay, this tells me that I am really deficient when it comes to reading fantasy. No wonder that I think that my book is so special. I don't know what other people are writing at all. Oh, I love the Silo books, but that's more like futuristic sci-fi. The House in Cerulean Sea. Yeah, I didn't care for that one. Legends and Lattes. It's kind of cozy fantasy. I feel the book is a bit overrated, to be honest. But a lot of people love it. Yeah, and then Mistborn. Of course, I read Wheel of Time stuff. Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time is epic fantasy and it's very clean. Squeaky clean. So Wheel of Time, yeah, totally. I really like Blake Crouch, all the sci-fi that he writes. Awesome stuff. I read a book of The Witcher and it didn't do much. I'm not a fan of the books. Scythe, that's not fantasy, it's more sci-fi. Scythe was really impressive. Yeah, I'm browsing through this list. Yeah, I need to really start reading some fantasy here. Okay. Well, come back next year. I'll be able to hopefully recommend some more. Anyway, let's see. Oh, you said phones are not for calling. Yeah, no, I hate phone calls. Immediate anxiety attack. It's true. Nobody knows that, but yeah, no, can't do it. Especially if there's people calling me out of the blue. It's like, what the heck? Why are you calling me? And then, of course, for hours, I cannot stop thinking about, why did that person call me? Was it urgent? All right. Well, some people absolutely got in, so that's good. Can you drop your Goodreads here? Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, maybe it's not Father Roderick. Maybe it's my full name. Let me see. Let me see. How do I share that? Or it's like Father's dash Roderick or something like that. How do I get my profile? For some reason, the Goodreads website is kind of clunky at times and it doesn't really work. Like I pressed profile and it doesn't do anything right now. My books maybe? Oh, the website is down? Nah, can't be. My books. Maybe if I open another window? Yeah, that did the trick. Oh, goodness. It's because of the O umlaut. It messed up the name. Wow. No, actually it is, Father Roderick. It does work. Here you go. That's my Goodreads. Okay, let's see. Bon appetit, Michiel. Do you only select certain readers for the reader's newsletter? I didn't get any response about the book. Yeah, I didn't have enough time to, you mean for the street team, right? I just haven't gotten around to writing people yet. It's basically, the street team I will send you the first draft when it's finished to get some initial feedback. It wasn't meant as a weekly newsletter or anything, because that's what the YouTube channel is for. You get way more updates there. If I have to write newsletters, it costs me extra energy. But you're right. Maybe I should set up like an email sequence so that at least you know that I got your email address. Marion has been reading a lot more fantasy since I'm in a book club Discord group. Oh, which one are you in? I've recently subscribed to a number of new book groups on Discord because of the Daniel Green fallout, which I'll probably record a video about tomorrow. Yeah, Mistborn, the first book was amazing. The second book was okay. And the third book was like, oh, please move on. There was just nothing happening. It's only in the last 2-3 chapters the things came together. And even that was kind of like, whatever. AOG says, thanks for covering anime. It has enhanced my appreciation of the art. It's wonderful. It's really, there are so many good stories there. I wish I had more time to watch it and to talk about it. Yes, it's been a revelation to me. Just I still can get mad at people who look down on anime as if it's this weird subculture and think, did you ever watch a good anime? It's art. It's I think it's actually a much higher level of art than what Disney is doing. Disney is just basically shovel stuff. It's like what sells. Pixar in the golden days was like, that's real good storytelling, but not nowadays. It's also kind of really cookie cutter stuff. But anime, oh my goodness, insane. Anime is not one genre. It's so many different types of stories, and yeah, it's insane. I'm so glad that I discovered that. Anyway, alrighty. So, I need to start wrapping up. But thank you so much. It was a joy to chat with you. And again, if you've been watching this all the way to the end and you weren't watching live, then you win a prize. 10 points for Gryffindor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel to get notified next time I go live. And make sure to also visit my website and sign up for the newsletter, which you can find at fatherroderick.com. Talk to you later and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye. That sounded smooth, right? That was my like pre-programmed wrap up for when I do a podcast. Usually there's normally a jingle playing in the background when I spout out stuff like that. But anyway, have a good one. Talk to you soon.